iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. First of all, I wanted to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. On days like Memorial Day and Veterans Day, I want to think about all the people who have served and continue to serve our great country. Appreciate all they have done for us and continue to do for us. So I know we're barbecuing, spending time with family and friends and things like that, but let's not forget the people who made this all happen for us. So happy Memorial Day to everybody. All right, I want to do a Memorial Day podcast here where I talk about some surprises, both good and bad. Both good and bad in the National League. So let's begin. We'll go alphabetically. We'll make it easier here. So obviously with Arizona, we're going to go with Paul Goldschmidt. Shock. Surprise. I mean, absolute surprise. Guy's hitting 201. He's literally hitting 201. Here we are Memorial Day. And he's hitting 201. I could have gotten at him done. And I took him in the first round of an NFBC draft, and I protected him for over $40 in my home league. I mean, he is single-handedly killing me. I don't know. Shock. Surprise. Absolute and utter surprise. But I'm also equally surprised about Ozzie Albies. Not that Ozzie Albies would be good, but that he would have this much power. Because we never saw this kind of power from Albies before. And here he has 14 home runs on his way to 25 to 30. So when we talk about surprises, we can talk about good surprises, Ozzie Albies, and bad surprises, Paul Goldschmidt. Right? We as fantasy owners need to be prepared both ways. How about a bad surprises? Yu Darvish. Yeah, Yu Darvish. Stinks. I took him in Tout Wars, and I was very excited. So points league, I'm like, all right, I got him at a discount. I really liked Yu Darvish. He was like $25 when guys were going for $50. And I'm thinking, this is a great deal. Right now, I wouldn't give you $5 for him. He looks terrible. And I don't like to project things out, but man, he looks like he's going to do multiple stints in the DL. He does not look right. He does not look right. How about a surprise when it's a guy who you didn't even draft? Tucker Barnhart. How many people, even in a two-catcher league, had Tucker Barnhart? I would even argue that some people thought that, Devin Mesoraco might have been a better buy because this guy was a really good hitter at one point, even though it hadn't been since 2014. But Tucker Barnhart, solid. Hitting about 270, going to hit 50, 60 RBIs. I'm surprised, but I'll tell you, the Reds like him and he's looked really good. I think all too often we're surprised by things that we shouldn't be surprised about. Trevor Story. Why are we surprised? We knew this guy had this kind of power. Last year in the FSTA draft, I took him as in my third round pick. Now, he wasn't great last year, but he's playing pretty well this year. Why are we surprised? This is a guy that can hit 30 home runs and 90 RBIs. He plays in Colorado. Plays in Coors Field half the games. So I find it weird that people are like, well, I didn't think Story would do that. Why didn't you? Maybe you should have. I think surprise also comes in players getting opportunities when we didn't think they would. For example, Walker Buehler. When the season started, was he even in the Dodgers rotation? We knew the Dodgers were going to bring him up at some point, but do we know when? I would argue he might be their second best pitcher right now. He looks great. So am I surprised by him? No, because I knew he was going to be good, but I'm actually surprised at myself for not drafting him more often. I think sometimes when we draft young rookies, two things happen. They either take off and they're great or they disappoint completely. And that happens way too often, the disappointment. But when they're good, they're really good and you can win. All right, here's an example. Lewis Brinson. This guy I really liked. I admit it. I liked Brinson. I thought he could hit close to 300. I thought that he could steal 20 bases. I thought he could hit 20 home runs. The dude's hitting 156. I weigh more than he is hitting right now. That's embarrassing. Seriously, that's embarrassing. There's got to be a huge hole in his swing, or he's trying too hard. They don't even know where to bat him anymore. They went from first to fifth to seventh. I mean, who knows where to put this guy? He's a disaster right now. So I guess for every Walker Buehler, there is a Lewis Brinson. You could be right, or you could be very, very wrong. And when you're wrong like that, it can get ugly quickly. All right, let's take a look at the Milwaukee Brewers. The surprise for me is Josh Hader. How good is he? This is a guy who, could he be the closer? Yes. Could he be a starter? Yes. He could be whatever they need him to be. I don't know whether they're using him the right way or not. I don't know. Maybe they are. What can I tell you? I mean, the guy pitches 2 innings every time out. So I guess if they're starters, get him 6 innings. Hader takes him the next 2, and then they bring in Nebel in the 9th, and they win it. So I guess you could bring a Hader twice a week, get about 4 innings. Maybe if you're lucky, you can get 5 innings a week from him. He's been tremendous. Really, I think that's a legit surprise. I think I've been surprised by Michael Conforto, too, for the Mets. So what happened was, at the FSTA draft, I think I got him in the 16th round. I knew he was injured, but I figured, all right, I'd wait a month and he'd come back and he'd hit. He hasn't done anything. Where is the guy who looked so good last year? Where is the guy who dominated last year? He's not here now. I'm a little surprised by that. I am never surprised about the people I work with at Scout Fantasy Sports. If you are not a member of Scout Fantasy Sports, I don't know why you're not. Sean Childs, Adam Ronis, and myself give the best information. So I remember talking to Adam Ronis, and I remember specifically asking about Nick Pivetta. And Ronis goes, he's a guy I like at the back end of the rotation. He had a lot of strikeouts last year, good K rate, good K to walk rate. And sure enough, Nick Pivetta has been awesome. Who else would have given you Nick Pivetta? Seriously, nobody except Scout Fantasy Sports. Sean, Adam, and I, we're on people like that. Nick Pivetta, surprise maybe to others, not to us. I am a little surprised at the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are playing very well. And Corey Dickerson in particular, I think it was a very good pickup. He really was. I had liked Corey Dickerson when he was with the Rockies. There was a line about him that this guy could hit every day. You just wake him up and he can hit. And then all of a sudden, he just didn't perform very well in 2016 when people were drafting him in the 3rd round. And then he didn't have a lot of RBIs with the Braves. But he's been a pretty good hitter this year. Pretty good hitter. Hitting over 300, a lot of RBIs. Maybe he's not a prolific power hitter, but I'll take 20 home runs and 90 RBIs. I'm okay with that. Okay, no surprise to me there. I like him. I got to admit, very, 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 very surprised at Christian Villanueva. I thought this guy was just a fat placeholder for Fernando Tatis Jr. But man, Villanueva doesn't suck. And I look at what the Padres are doing here, and they're onto something. It's going to take them some time because their pitching stinks. But the hitting's not bad at all. Hosmer and Perella and Villanueva, Freddie Galvis has been decent. Matt Margot, Will Myers has been injured. I mean, this team has something going on here, like the bullpen with Kirby Yates and Brett Hand. But Villanueva is going to be part of this team. But you can't leave Tatis down in the minors for too long. He is just that good. He's that good. For the Giants, Brandon Belt. I think a lot of people lost faith in Brandon Belt because for so many years he'd just been that, 17, 18 home run, 60, 70 RBI guy. But I had always seen him as a guy who could hit 30 and 90. But right now we're finally seeing a guy who's healthy. Well, a healthy Brandon Belt is a pretty darn good first baseman. He's on pace to go 30-90. Will he get there? I don't know, but I know I'm enjoying the ride. And I think it's been surprising to people because you could get him in round 18 or 19. Brandon Belt to me is like Matt Ryan was in football a few years ago. Nobody drafted Matt Ryan until like round 15, 16, and Matt Ryan led you to a fantasy football championship. Brandon Belt might the same thing. 30-90, he's been a really good player. I mean, seriously, if I told you he was going to go 30-90 and hit 285 when the season started, would you have been happy with that? You better believe you would have been. People were in on Matt Carpenter, but I don't think that was a mistake. See, I'm not surprised that Carpenter's been so bad this year because he's been dealing with a back injury. I don't think he looked right. Scott Pianowski took him, I think, in the 6th round of labor, and I was not having any part of that. Now, look, I like Scott Pianowski. I think he knows a ton about fantasy baseball. And I like Matt Carpenter in general, but coming off a back injury like that, it just didn't feel right. Sometimes you have to read the tea leaves. I've always said when a guy is injured, 2 things. 1, it's a buying opportunity, and 2, stay away. This one felt like a stay away to me. It really did. I probably should have mentioned Bud Norris as the true surprise. I can't remember whether it was the FSTA League or Labor, but I drafted Bud Norris literally in the last round. Needless to say, I cut him when they signed Greg Holland. What an idiot I was. Seriously, what an idiot I was. I picked him back up in Tout Wars, but I had Bud Norris. I had him all year long. I knew I liked him in that bullpen, and let me tell you something. Bud Norris is the kind of player. Peter Gammons loved Bud Norris years ago. I remember watching him on ESPN. And Peter Gammons like, would he make a good reliever? Yes, Peter, he did. He's making a great reliever. So, Jordan Hicks may be a great closer one day, but for right now, it's Bud Norris. Lastly, I want to talk about Juan Soto. He's 19. He's really good. We all knew there was Victor Robles. I don't think anybody thought that Juan Soto was coming up. Robles gets injured. Adam Eaton shockingly gets injured. Brian Goodwin gets injured. Howie Kendrick gets injured. Well, here's Juan Soto, and this dude is really good. He's really good. So once again, it points to sometimes when you have skills, you gotta bet on skill. So if you're in one of those best ball leagues, Juan Soto was a great pick. I don't know if he was a great pick in a redraft league. I'm not going to beat myself up over that. But in a best ball type of thing, in a draft champions type of format, Juan Soto was a great pick. If there was a minimal chance this guy gets called up, he's going to be a star. So it's frustrating because maybe you drafted Nick Senzel, and Nick Senzel hasn't seen the light of day for Cincinnati, whereas Juan Soto's playing every day for Washington. It doesn't make sense, does it? You're like, the Reds suck. They need Senzel. Well, you got that Super 2 thing, so you're going to have to wait another week or two. It's very frustrating. I get it. It's awful. But that's what happens in fantasy baseball. Teams won ownership over the player for the extra years, and they're going to make them wait. Why bring Senzel up if they're going to suck anyway? I don't like it either, but I understand why it happens. What I don't understand is why everybody doesn't go to playffwc.com right now. You want to play fantasy football? There's no better place to play than ffwc.com right now. May Madness is almost done. You sign up in May Madness, you sign up for a team, you get entered for a possible free entry. 1 out of 20 people gets a free entry for another team. It's a great deal. And our leagues are sensational. Whether it's Best Ball, Online Championship, Fantasy Football World Championship, come do what we're doing. Be part of what we're doing. Also, ScoutDFS.com. Steve Renner had a big hit, $6K. He won for $222. He won $6K yesterday. Fuego Steve Hillman's been on fire as well this year. Join up, ScoutDFS.com. Come be my rich friend. I could use one. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back with more tomorrow, the American League surprises. This is Dr. Roto saying be well, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!